Afternoon all. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. It's non-farm payroll day. We like non-farm payroll. We don't like the euro. Who'd have thought one missile landing near a nuclear power plant would blow the euro up? Even more than it was blowing up as it was at the moment. So, wow. Not good. So, afternoon, Hamza. Morning, even in Arizona. Ooh, but it's nice and hot and sunny over there. Cloudy and drizzly in the UK. Pretty much weather forecast every day. Cloudy and drizzly in the UK. So basically, we got non-farm in 15 minutes. So I'm planning to trade futures this afternoon. I've had a really good day on the DAX this morning. Yeah, really good day this morning. $450. So I'm not going to touch CFDs this afternoon. I don't usually anyway. I usually trade futures in the afternoon. Loads of ADRs hit. I haven't had any chance to monitor. Did anybody that was here this morning? Happy NFP day, Diamond. Anybody that was in here this morning monitor any of these M15, M1 strategies? 75 degrees yesterday. Very nice. I didn't get a chance because I was engrossed in the DAX this morning. So I didn't get a chance to trade anything else. But yeah, I don't know if anybody traded anything. If so, how did you get on? Hi, Fanot. So yeah, quick overview. Aussie CAD, all the Canadians, all the commodity pairs off the charts. All the Aussies off to the moon. Aussie CAD especially, 150 ADR. All the euros dead in the water. Pound odd obviously been pumped down based on the Australian dollar movement. The pound is almost as unhappy as the euro at the minute, which is bad. Pound's not doing well at all out of this either. Mainly because obviously our main, not export, but our main GDP contributor is banking. And yeah, the entire wealth of the UK is made up of Russian oligarchs, and they've all left. So that's not helping at all. That's my new analysis on why the pound is collapsing. The oligarchs have run off with all our cash. Fair play. So New Zealand dollar, obviously off to the moon as well. So markets obviously in as much of a mess as they were yesterday. DAX is coming down fairly hard. We gapped down this morning. We didn't manage to get that gap. Play. Let me just switch that back to M5. We didn't manage to get that gap play this morning. Had a go at the gap, but didn't get there. And it came down very, very hard today. All the indices did. And since then, we've been kind of putting in a bit of a bearish market structure. We've got a little bit of a pullback going on at the moment, but I'm looking down indices this afternoon again. Hi, David. All the indices have been kind of bearish in London. So we'll see what happens today. We'll do an analysis of all of them once we've got through non-farm. Gold pushed up in London. We've had a really, really strong US dollar this morning. Really off the charts strong. 125 ADR during the London session. Afternoon Mayo. Yeah, so big push on the Dixie. So looking for a short non-farm payroll. Which potentially might mean a long indice push on non-farm, but I suspect just a probably a spike and a fade. So we'll see. I have no idea, obviously, what's going to happen. No one has, but we'll see how it plays out. Ruble is dropping further. So US dollar is obviously pushing up against the ruble as well. Oil has recovered in London as well. So we had that dip in oil yesterday, big dip down. Then we went into an accumulation. We're pushing back up in the London session, so I suspect we'll get some more oil movement maybe this afternoon. That 120 a barrel is still looking good. So yeah, really, really big moves all over the place today. But yeah, the euros are the euros against the Australasian pairs are the real losers at the moment. One bull candle there today. That's it. Afternoon, Neo. So yeah, absolute mess. Everything is in an absolute mess. So let's have a quick look at the indices. So from a daily perspective, we got that move down yesterday that I was looking for. Obviously, I traded the DAX, the S&P short yesterday in futures. Made a nice $400 on that one. As we had that push up, so I was looking for that push up and then drop, and we got that, and it was really nice and steady, really, really easy to trade yesterday. It's lovely. And opened up today with a drop. So we've pushed up and dropped. So to me, this looks like potentially, as I say, with non-farm, we might get a spike up, but then I think we're going to go into a corrective short. This market structure is holding, and this is basically where we would be looking for that next drop to start kicking in. It's a lot clearer on the S&P, where we pulled up into the 24. Remember, I was speaking about this yesterday. I was looking for a pullback to the 24 and then drop from there. I wasn't expecting the gap. Obviously, this has happened because of the strike on, well, potential strike or whatever that was on the power plant, on the nuclear power plant. So that's gapped down further than I was expecting, but I was looking for a down day today. We've kind of got it already. Nasdaq dropping as well. There's money just flooding out the market at the moment. People are pulling all their investment out of everything, and it's obviously hindering the stock market dramatically. So there's money piling in, but there's more money piling out. Nothing anyone can do about it at the minute. People are just wanting to get their money out. So afternoon, Rahat. So yeah, collapses across the board. The DAX, you remember I said yesterday, we were so far away from the 24. I was worried about a pullback starting. Collapsed. So yeah, it's really, really difficult. I'm not going to trade the DAX anymore this afternoon. I've done really well out the DAX this morning. I'm going to leave that to do whatever it wants to do. I've got the EA running on this, by the way. Just doing some very, very, very small 0.1% trades. I'm just testing it out, basically, for the new version 1.6 that I've pushed out this morning. So I'm just testing that out with the new above and below feature. Well, I call it above and below. Stops at candle high lows with a percentage risk reward. So I'm just testing that at the minute. So it's just taking trades for me, auto trading for me, just to test it out basically. And it's pumping out signals to the new signal channel. Which is nice. So there's those trades I was taking this morning. Look. Some of them, anyway, not all of them. But yeah, I'm testing that out. Don't know if it's going to be any good or not. But yeah, 20 pips profit, 30 pips profit, 30 pips profit, 30 pips profit, 40 pips profit, 12 pips profit. No losses in there. It's all good. Oh, there's a loser. Boo. Oh, I've got a problem there. Check that one out. But anyway, yeah. So I was just testing out, pushing out signals to Telegram because people keep asking me for a signal service. So I thought I'd have a look at it. Anyway, that's all on that for the minute. So yeah, so if you see DAX trades, that's all that is. It's taking very, very, very small risk on them because it's doing testing. Right. So No, I haven't got a signals channel, Hamza. I'm just testing it out. I don't really want to be a signal provider. I really don't like signals at all. I don't. Because you can't, you're not the trader. If you're following signals, you're not trading. You're basically gambling with my sanity. If I go completely mental and decide to go 10 lots long because I've had a bad day, so are you. I wouldn't put your money in anybody else's hand but yours. Not that I do that, obviously. Don't know. Might do. Might turn Putin. That's my new phrase, turning Putin. Things going mad now, basically. So yeah, but I've just toying with the idea of it more from an automation perspective with the new price action toolkit EA to maybe automate signals for price action, basically. But I'm just playing with the integration with Telegram at the moment. Right. David, we love Lee. We love Lee. Lee for president. I've got to live in the US to be president. We have prime ministers in the UK. We're much more posh. I think it's great for beginners to have some guidance. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. But unless you know the reason behind the signal, it doesn't teach you anything, does it? If you get if you follow a signal channel and it says go short on this, here's your stop loss, here's your TP. Why? Why go short? You need to know why you're going short. So that's why I don't like them. People just want to make money out of signals, and I can understand that. But I've been around a long time. I've followed, I don't know how many signal services in Telegram, Discord, bought signals. I've copy traded. I've done everything. Never, ever made any money following signals, ever. Even the best signal providers in the world, I don't know, just don't make money out of them. By the time I press this button, that thing's moved. I get out, you're getting in. It drops down, you lose money, I make money. Doesn't work, does it? Most of the time, anyway. But the latency on the Telegram signals is about a second, just under a second. So if you get in immediately, if you can read it very fast, you can be in within 2 seconds. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. It's something I'm just playing with. I'm more like the field examples after class. Yeah. Right. Afternoon, Stevia. Sorry, I'm useless with languages, as you know. So, plan this afternoon. Scalping. We've got non-farm in 1 minute. I am going long and short. Whoops. Oh, can't do that. Can do that. So I'm just going to go for a bracket off the news, see if we can get some quick profit in the bank. And adjust stops fast. Okay, adding one more. Oh, wrong. Adding one more. Just getting ready to switch just in case. Has anybody seen what non-farm was? What's happened to the US dollar? God, nothing. Look at that. Looks like US dollar long, so that would be indices short. That's the wrong side, I think, on that. God, that's the weakest non-farm I've seen for a long time. Look at that. Not even moved, is it? So we literally got that whipsaw out of it. We're back to square one. We haven't gone anywhere. So it's a non-mover. I'm going to close that out. I'm just probably going to take a small loss on this one. Non-mover. Crikey. I have never seen a non-farm payroll do that. Never. It shows you how scared the market is. They're not even interested in manipulating the market off of non-farm payroll at the moment. That's crazy. Look at that. Never, ever seen a non-farm. Has non-farm been released? Am I not going mad? That is, we have had just non-farm payroll, yeah? Wow. That's the first. So non-farm payroll has moved the market 10 pips on the US dollar. So everybody, I'm not going crazy, am I? This is actually happening. My broker's not screwed up. Wow. There you have it. The markets are officially broken. Wow. That is the craziest non-farm payroll I've ever seen in my life. Normally, I mean, you assume obviously a lot of you guys been in here for a while with me. You know what non-farm's like. You'd be off the top of this chart now, or you'd be off the bottom of the chart. I've never ever seen a non-farm do that. I've seen an FOMC do that, but not a non-farm. Blimey. I'm going to close it out because it's not going anywhere. $6 loss. Right. Well, yeah, that was non-farm payroll. There you go. Got on early for that. That was an absolute waste of time. So, plan for this afternoon is not a lot, to be honest. I've banked $450 this morning, and I might have a look at the markets at the open in New York. I was expecting to get some movement off of non-farm, so obviously that hasn't happened. So I'm going to maybe have a look at the markets this afternoon. I'd like to spend a bit of time actually on the EA trying to do some back testing with that. So I might actually spend the afternoon doing that instead, but we'll see what happens. So if we go back over to the charts, because that's not happening, that's completely thrown me. I was planning to spend the next sort of 15, 20 minutes trading non-farm. It's not happening. There isn't one. Wow. David, I had a few people reach out to me on the MQL5 marketplace asking about the EA and creator, and of course I had nothing but positive feedback. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, David. That's interesting that people are reaching out to you on the marketplace. How do they know that you've bought it? Can you see what people have bought on the marketplace? I don't know. Don't know how it works. Never really looked at it, to be honest. I'm still staring at this thing, waiting for something to happen. I'm gobsmacked, absolutely gobsmacked. And it's not just a normal non-farm either. It's a big one. Yeah, we were expecting a drop, and we didn't get a drop. We got a 50% increase above the forecast, and it hasn't moved. Wow. There you go. War. That's what war does. Oh, if you left a comment for a review, Diamond just said, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, of course you can. If people have left reviews and stuff, you can see who's used things and yeah. It's a thing I don't like about MQL5. It's about having products on MQL5 is that you don't get that interaction with customers. You can't see. I can't see who's purchased anything. I can't see anything in there, and it's hard for people to get their heads around. But basically, I get a report of if I sell something, I get a report to tell me I've sold something, and that's it. It doesn't tell me what time it was purchased. It doesn't tell me who purchased it. It doesn't tell me anything. I don't get any communication. The only time I know if somebody's bought something is if they're in Telegram, or they message me direct in MQL5. It's a very, very closed environment, MQL5. But anyway, right. So nothing's happening on the futures market at the moment. We've got 15,000 contract volume coming on that as well. Everybody trying to trade it. Look, nothing. Nuts. Right, so let's go back to the real world. I'm just about to go long the day they hit the Twin Towers, Stevia says. It fell about 1,000 pips in seconds. Scariest thing I've ever seen, yeah. The chart couldn't even be read. It fell so far. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. In times of crisis like that, you will have things, and you can't deal with it. You just have to deal with what you're given, basically. I had exactly the same thing when they removed the Swiss franc peg, and the market, the Swiss franc, basically fell off the earth, basically. So you just have to deal with those situations as they arise. So let's have a quick recap of where we are with everything else at the moment. Where are we? So obviously all these euros, we'll quickly recap everything that's going on at the minute. So all of these euros at the moment, this is obviously all to do with Ukraine. NATO are meeting today, and there's a lot of rumblings about NATO getting involved, although it's a no-no on paper with what's going on, and the fact that he's nearly hit a nuclear power plant. I think that all of the NATO countries, the UN, everybody is just getting to the point where they're like, we just cannot let this continue. And if that happens, we're going to see markets across the world affected even worse than we've got at the moment. This is the precursor. Bear in mind, this is what's happening to the euro, which is not involved in the conflict. If it gets involved in the conflict, it's going to move even worse, and so is all other currency out there. So if you're not flat on things, and if you've got positions open, you really need to think about scaling out of these things at some point, because this weekend, if fighting, I mean, war doesn't stop at weekends. If fighting escalates this weekend, Monday you're going to see the mother of all gaps on all sorts of things. Like Stevia's just said, no stops can save you when this happens. When the US dollar Swiss franc peg was removed, my stops did not get honoured. Sorry, my stops. I was the right side of it. My TPs did not get honoured. And if I was the wrong side of it, my stops would not be honoured. There's not enough liquidity in the market when those algorithms are turned off, and that $20 million dollar machine that is sitting there continuously pumping lots in and out of the market with $20 million stops pumping, the liquidity dries up instantly. You will not get any orders filled at any level. So regardless of whether you've put protective stops in the market, if it opens up with a gap on Monday, your stops will be where the market opens. That's where you will get the margin calls. So you're better off getting rid of any open positions or scaling those open positions down to a very, very small position. There's very little you can do with this collapse that we've got going on at the minute. Everything New Zealand wise is pumping like mad. So all the Aussies, all the New Zealands, all the commodity pairs are flying. Obviously US dollar is picking up, which is what we were expecting. We were expecting a push on the US dollar. I was expecting the push off of the back of non-farm retracement, which we haven't had. Non-farm has just not happened, and the US dollar is going. Looks like it's pumping quite hard now, so we're probably seeing the indices dropping now. Yeah, they're starting to come down now. I'm going to take a quick short on this. I'm just going to pump a couple of orders in case we get a dump on this. If the US dollar is pushing that hard, I've got a feeling we may see the indices just start to come down pre-market. So I'm just going to take a quick short on this. It's well worth a gamble of stop above the top of non-farm. See if we can get just a decent push down this afternoon before the open, by the way, which is 45 minutes. So with what we got going on with the Dixie at the moment, obviously the US dollar is pumping very, very, very hard. We've got nothing coming in on the yens, so the normal safe havens that we see being pumped into are not getting pumped into. The Canadian dollar is incredibly weak at the moment, but the yens, where we would normally expect to see massive yen strength off the back of wars, we're not getting it. Swiss franc, this is the perfect pair to look at. The Swiss franc and the yen is where we see money fly to, not happening. So there is nothing logical at the moment about this market in any way, shape or form. We're getting movements that we don't expect. And you just have to kind of drop to low time frames and just scalp what you can when you can. But stay away from anything that's moving fast. You can't chase these moves when they start to happen because they will retrace. But anything you see moving, if you see any signs of a pullback, that's where you want to be getting in. So if you can get into these euros short on pullbacks, that's what you want to be doing. But that the next pullback you get will be the start of the reversal, but you just don't know. So just got to really keep it very, very, very tight at the moment. Got 200% ADR now on Euro odd and Euro New Zealand. Nuts. So as far as RSIs are concerned, we're still embedded on those two. Whenever we see this getting lit up, we're like, woohoo, time to jump in. It only ever lights up for one candle, then it's gone. This has been lit up now for multiple candles, and we never see this level. So, it's just utter destruction. So anything 4 hour, the only things I would be interested in playing at the moment are any pullbacks on the US dollar for longs, which you're not really getting much of at the moment, not even on the hourlies. US dollar CAD, it's always extended to the highs. So yeah, there's just nothing tradable really on any other long-term time frame. So you've got to be looking at the wrong one. That's hourly, that one. So you've really just got to be looking at M5. And to me at the moment, the only thing really I'm looking to trade is indices. May consider some of these, which are going to be a little bit safer to trade. But the problem I have with these is, as I saw this morning when I was dropping down to M1, is spread. So we've got quite wide spreads on these, which is makes it a bit tricky to scalp on M1. But the majors you'll be okay with. But things like the pound yen, you've got fairly tricky spreads to deal with. So if I was you, I would try and stick to main indices. So stick to either the S&P or the Nasdaq or the Dow or the DAX, and just try and concentrate on those at the moment. No stops going to I've read he's not going to stop. Countries like Romania and Moldova are on the list too. It's going to get a whole lot worse. Yeah, I mean, this is NATO's worry, and this is why NATO's been falsifying the areas, the NATO countries around the Ukraine, basically. So obviously you got all these. That's the next target. He's basically got that and that kind of covered now. And Odessa looks like it's next on the list. Then he's now got control of the Black Sea, which is where the fleet is, which gives him the ability to resupply and attack from the sea and resupply and attack completely from the east. Moldova and obviously Romania, this is where NATO is going to be sitting, waiting. And it only takes one missile to go astray or one fighter jet to fly the wrong way, and it doesn't necessarily need to be an accident. It needs to be something that is just done, and you're stuffed. And then we're in World War III, aren't we? As soon as a NATO jet goes down, as soon as a NATO tank is destroyed or any personnel is killed, that's it. And obviously the fact that you're hitting that power plant was somewhere around, that nuclear power plant was somewhere around here, wasn't it? It was somewhere out of the way that wasn't particularly important. If that was to go up for any reason and it affects a country that is not Ukrainian, that's it. You know, there's so many flashpoints in this thing at the minute. And as soon as anybody else gets involved in it, every single currency is done. The market is not... wouldn't surprise me if markets were suspended. You know, there's no point in having markets when there's nobody to trade. The liquidity will dry up. Your slippage will go through the roof. You know, it's just not a good time at the minute to be in any business, really. Romania is in NATO, yeah. It's viable to trade DX during FF and S&P in New York, yeah. Yeah, so the DAX, obviously, DAX's main movement is in the European session, obviously, because it is the Germany. So it's the main Euro stocks, basically. So the vast majority of that movement happens in Frankfurt and London. And then obviously New York is where we have the Dow, the S&P and the Nasdaq. So it's all the top US stocks. So obviously they move with more vigor during those. But all stocks are linked. So when you have something like all the tech stocks flying, you'll have German companies in the Germany 40 as it is now, which will be linked to those. So if those stocks all start flying, the stocks based in this index will also increase in value because they will be supplying goods to those who go up, which means that will pump those up. So all the indices will move in tandem. This one moves more independently than the others, obviously. So when you look at movement across all indices, you can see it's all the same. But you can see the difference in movement on the DAX, yeah? So the DAX has done that this morning. And when you look at the US 30, the Dow, the S&P and the tech stocks, they didn't get that range of movement. But it was very, very similar. So you want to trade what's moving the most vigorously when you're trading. And obviously, if you're trading Frankfurt and London, this is the mover. And in the afternoon, they all move in the afternoon, this included. But obviously, not as much as the techs. Sorry, the US stocks. So Lee's 100% right. Your stops will get pushed to wherever it falls. Yeah. So you're talking about the slippage. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's literally nothing you can do when something like that happens. I've shown this before, but this is the trade that I was in here. So I was luckily on the right side of it, but I still didn't get honoured. So you look at the normal average daily range of candles on this, and then look at what happens when the Swiss franc peg was removed. That is 1 day. I'm not saying you're going to get that happening. I mean, if a nuclear bomb drops in the middle of a country, you will have that happening, obviously, because the economy of that country is gone. But it doesn't matter if I had my. I mean, I was short on it, so because we were expecting it to drop because we were up at the peg, which was a dollar. I was playing that sort of move, so you have a stop loss, you'd have a TP there. Do you think my TP got slipped down to there? No. But do you think everybody who had a stop loss there, who was long, do you think their stops got honoured there? No. Their stops got honoured down there. And this all happened in a matter of minutes. Can't even find it. Can't see it on H4. Where's it gone? This is the thing I hate about MT4. Difficult to find stuff. But you see how fast this move happened. Oh, lost it now. No chance of finding that again. Anyway, you get the point. You're not gonna get honoured on whatever you do. So yeah, just be very this weekend. You just get flat as you can. If you have trades on in the market and want to keep them over the weekend, it's possible. If it's a sell, then use the exact same size in a buy, and then if it falls, you stay exactly where you are in the market close. Yeah, so if you have a broker, what's Livio saying there, if you have a broker that allows hedging, I mean, let's use the euro as an example. I know some of you are hedged on some of these already anyway. But if you're short 5 lots and you take a long here at 5 lots, whatever your drawdown is right now will be locked. And if this thing jumps up to here or this thing drops down to the end of the earth, your drawdown will remain the same because you will make a loss on this and you will make a profit on that. So you will be hedged. The problem you will have is if this was to gap up to here, you would be going, excellent, I will take off this long. But then all of a sudden, all of your shorts, you will go onto an instant margin call on. It's very, 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 very difficult to hedge your way out of a war, basically, or anything like this. It's difficult, very, very difficult to do. Adrian, I wonder if this is all part of a new world order, currency devaluation for the controlled crypto, as well as 75% depopulation, of course. Yeah, could be. I love The Walking Dead, but I don't really want to live in that world. But yeah, I don't know. The thing that concerns me is the crypto market. And the fact that we saw this spike in crypto happening when everything else went the other way, crypto went up as if everybody had pulled all their money and pumped it into crypto. It wasn't massive, but it was a considerably bigger move on crypto than we had on everything else. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a lot of Russian money suddenly popped into cryptos. Aussies on a mission. For crypto to work, you need another currency. So majors are always going to be here. You don't need another currency for crypto. Obviously, there's other crypto you can cross with. So, crypto can cross with crypto. That could easily become the new... Bitcoin will become the new US dollar. Other cryptos will become the new CAD, pound, euro, etc. So, yeah, I mean, that could happen. The problem is we don't have infrastructure to support it. I can't go to the garage or the shop now and buy my shopping in crypto. There's no framework out there to allow me to do that. So that's something that's got to come, hasn't it? Which, yeah. So the 75% depopulation. So how are we going to avoid being one of those 75%? I guess you just have to live on a desert island, really, don't you? Or a boat. I've got it all planned. I know exactly where I'm going if they press those buttons. And which boat I'm stealing. One of the advantages of living by the sea. How do the new features will work with the stop loss and entry of candle high and low in the new update? Right, so, oops, wrong account. So basically, the new features are, is this 1.6? Yeah. Two new features which were rolled out today were place stops at candle high, low, and take long entries and short entries. So as default, these are all set to true, so there's nothing different. But basically, this is if you don't want to use moving averages as a filter, for example. So let's say, for example, you just want to take everything short on the euro pair. So you want to stick this EA on the euro and go, just take shorts, never take a long. You would set that to false. And say, right, just auto trade me every single candlestick pattern you see that is short and get me in. Yeah. So that's what those are for. Very straightforward. These will also take into account moving averages as well, though. So if you want to use these and you don't want to use moving averages, you want to turn moving average filters off, basically, because obviously auto trading works off of these being painted, and these are painted based on moving average as well. So, so with the stops at candle high low, very simple. When it enters a trade on a strong close, like it has here, let's just look at a trade to be easier. So I've got it set up on those new settings at the moment. So you can see we've got the sell stop here, which has been triggered under the bottom of this strong close candle. The stop loss is put at the high of the candle. So this strong close here, that sell. Pending was entered there. Stop is at the high of that candle. And then you have a risk reward of whatever you want it to be. So mine is set up at... God, these alerts. I've got to turn my dashboards off because it's just relentless. So target percentage of stop loss is set to 150. So that's 150%, i.e. 1.5 R. So there's your entry. There's your stop loss. There's your take profit. So that is 150% of my stop loss. So the stop in this case is 44, TP is 65-ish, 64, something like that. Yeah. So it's basically 100. It's a 150% is 1.5 R. If you want a 2 R, 2 risk reward, 2-to-1, then you would set that at 200%. And it would set your stop loss at the high of the candle, the signal, and then it would set your TP at a 2-to-1. That's it. That's all the new features. And a few little a few little logic changes to how lines are drawn and stuff. But apart from that, that's all there is new. Hence why it's so important to use risk control. Anyone using larger lots in that big down candle without risk control would have blown the account. Yeah. Dig a big hole and take over a bunker. Yeah, that's a good way to stop being one of the 75%. Franco, hello. I was at work for non-farm. Great pickup, 58 pips, 3% gain. Excellent. What, off of non-farm? Non-farm didn't move. I guess this is maybe a delayed reaction non-farm, isn't it? I suppose. But yes. Anyway, I've got 2 contracts short on now. Haven't gone anywhere yet. So I was hoping for that a little bit of a flush in the opposite direction of the US dollar, but we haven't really got it at the moment. So we got the US dollar push, but we haven't got the drop yet. So nice steady drop on the MAs. So if we continue and just do that all afternoon, I'll be more than happy. Unlikely. Afternoon, Gary. So non-farm obviously it was a non-starter. We didn't get anything. We got one tiny little wick to the upside. That was it. So I've not really got anything else I'm going to cover this afternoon. I'm going to nurture these couple of contracts short. And I think this afternoon, if you're going to trade this afternoon, Fridays are always a little bit dodgy. You quite often get an end of day sell off on a Friday towards the end of the New York session. The fact that we've had no movement off of non-farm is really confusing. And obviously the fact that we've got such a strong US dollar today, I get the feeling we are probably going to have a little bit of a fade and push potentially on the US dollar, which means we will get that down day on the indices. So obviously the indices have started rejecting and we've already got a bit of a down day going. So I would be looking for these lows on the S&P, potentially a nice big drop. I get the feeling, as with a lot of things which are happening today, people will want to unload stocks this afternoon ahead of this weekend, because this is the second weekend of the war. The first weekend of the war was very calm compared to what's been happening this week. I think people are going to want to unload their stocks, and today, this afternoon session at 2:30 is the last chance they're going to get to unload for the weekend. So if there is a mass exodus from the markets and we see mass selling, we could see some very big drops this afternoon. And obviously the difficulty with trading in that sort of market is you don't get pullbacks and you don't get the fills that you want to get, because if people are exiting at a rate of knots, they will take whatever price they can get for their stocks. So you'll find there won't be too many people wanting to buy them up. Therefore, they will be dropping prices faster than normal. So couple that with the end of week sell off for profit takes, could see a very, very quick sell off this afternoon. A little bit like we had yesterday. Yeah, we could see one of these. So this is where we were yesterday. This was the open yesterday. Remember, I sold in short here, scaled in there and rode that down to here. we got down to my target. See, God, look at that. How annoying is that? That was my target. Yeah, that's blue line. That's where I said I was going to get out. I got out here, didn't I? So I rode it down to there. It got to target, and then it pulled back. This sort of sell-off, I think, is not off the cards at the open today. We could see a big flurry of people leaving ahead of the weekend, just wanting to liquidate their cash. So hence me having this short on. I'd be willing to take a $300-400 risk on a nice fast short this afternoon. So in fact, I'm just going to set this up. So daily lows, we're looking at previous day's low, day before. So this is what, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So that's the opening week low. So this is the low of the week. So that's where I think potentially we've got the possibility of getting down to. But I'll keep an eye. So that's kind of what I'm just taking a punt this afternoon on a fast sell-off, quick buck down to there. But that's really the only play I'm going to do. I'm not interested in trying to scalp it if it's going to work or it's not. So that's the plan. If I use 150%, then still the EA will consider profit percent target set above. Yes. So these that setting is completely independent. Yeah. So these exit strategies work regardless. Yeah. Buttons and auto. So if you set a 1% target and set that to true, yeah. If you have a TP of 200%, and that happens to be 1.5% away from the entry, it will close your position out there when you get to 1%. Yeah, so that still works. The exit strategies work all the time if you want to use the exit strategies. The feeling on the street is one of heartbreak for what's going on in Europe. Yeah, I mean, everybody's... it's just unbelievable. And the thing that I find the most unbelievable about this whole situation is the way that Putin and his cronies are completely blinkered as to what they're doing. They're convinced there is a Nazi regime of people lining people up in front of tanks to stop them. Of course people are going to stop try to stop tanks, but the way that he's reporting it is it seems to be utter nonsense. Everything that comes out of Putin's mouth is just not happening at all. And the fact that nobody in his circle has done anything is just, I'm just amazed. And it's just a hideous situation, isn't it? And it's destroying not just the Ukraine, it's destroying obviously Europe, other people's lives in Europe. It's just everywhere, all around the world. But I mean, it's just making an utter mess of absolutely everything, and it needs to be stopped. And I don't think the world is going to sit by and let it continue any longer, because it's getting too dangerous for everything. And even China have now turned around and said, they were not backing him and not condemning him, but China's taken a much more this is not the way forward stance. So we were worried about them getting involved with Putin. That doesn't seem to be the case now. So I think one way or the other, something is going to happen this weekend, which is going to escalate this further, and hopefully come to a quick resolution. And obviously for the Ukrainian people, really, it's most important in this whole thing, isn't it? So Feeling on the street, yeah. Harry, hi all. I joined late. Will the dollar plunge? No, don't think so. I wouldn't think so. Or is it a media spin, Adrian? I wonder what is really going on. Oh, yeah, I mean, I've no idea what's going on, but all we can see, and this is, they were reporting this morning on the news about this, this is the first war we've had that we can see exactly what's going on. We've got the technology with the satellites and everything now to actually see what is going on the ground. So the only thing that we in the West are getting reported is the facts of destruction and death. Everybody in Russia is just getting completely the flip side of that told to them, and he's shut all media down. So, you know, it's like there's this glass bubble in Russia where they are seeing something completely different to the rest of the world. And that's my point, is how is he not shocked that the rest of the world is looking at this going, what on earth are you doing? And, you know, it's just an unbelievable situation, isn't it? But I can't. The US dollar at the moment is going to potentially continue to rise. The strength of the US dollar is going to be backed up by the fact that obviously we all use the US dollar as the world's central currency, and that will continue to happen. So everywhere else in the world that is going to continue to trade will continue to trade, and the US dollar will still be a link pin in that. The sectors which are being hit at the moment are obviously all stocks, the banking sector, which is the UK, and Europe being on the brink of the next wave. That currency is being devalued. All the commodities currencies, Aussies, New Zealand's, anything with a tangible product is going up because that's what people want. So until this thing is resolved, we should see continuation on Aussie, New Zealand pushes, drops in euro and pound, and US dollar strength. The yen is doing absolutely nothing, and the Swiss franc will do very little as well, by the looks of things at the moment. So just carry on. Carry on regardless. Lee, you never brag, which is refreshing. But what's your history? Did you work in the city? No. God, no. No, I'm a programmer. Actually, I'm a salesman. I used to be a salesman. Now I'm a programmer. No. I have never worked in banking, economics, anything like that. At all. I'm completely self-taught with everything that I've learnt, but I've been doing it for 13 years. If you've watched the Boocamp, video 1 in the Boocamp, very early on, there's a slide about me and my background. You know, I'm not a central. I haven't worked for hedge funds. I haven't worked for big banks. Never been in the industry at all. I just learnt a lot about it over the years, and that's it. So my background is logic. And this is a logical market. Not at the moment, obviously, but 90% of the time, this is a logical market. You can see patterns. You can see, you can understand how the system works, and all you've got to do is apply logic to that system, and that's how you can make money. It's just finding a way to extract money by knowing what the market will do. And this is the problem at the moment. This is a totally illogical market, so you can't apply anything to it that you would normally use in any shape or form. The only thing at the moment that is going to work is going to be things like price action candlestick patterns, because they show you what is happening now with price and what is likely to happen in short term with price. But anything above this time frame, M5, is just a mystery. Because everything above this time frame will tend to work on a bias, and the bias is flicking like a switch at the moment. Even this is, you know, even low time frame is, you know, everything's difficult to trade. So, but yeah, no, I'm not a banker. Certainly not. I know a couple. I've got a couple of. Not friends, but people I've met along the way who've worked on Barclays Investment Bank, and they've worked on the market maker desk. So I know what goes on. And I know everybody knows it's all rigged. It's not rigged. It's just like anything in government and central banks, there's a lot of back scratching going on. Yeah. If I've got 100 million to dump long and you've got 100 million to dump short, should we maybe do it around about 12:15? Yeah, good idea. Everybody's made money. What's happened to every retail trader? Stopped out. That sort of stuff. That sort of stuff happens. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, they're just transacting, aren't they? They just know when the transactions are going to happen. So it's just knowing what goes on and being able to see it, really. Hope they don't steal you from us. God, no. I'm not going anywhere. Not planning to, anyway. I'm not a target down here. Where I live, the nearest military base... I'm just talking about nukes. The nearest military base is... about 35 miles away, about 50 kilometres away, just outside the blast radius of the big ones. So, and I'm far enough away from a city. So unless there's any soft targets around here that I don't know about, I'll be all right. So, yeah. But it's not going to come to that. Think positive. They're going to get around the table and they're going to talk it out and sort it out. So this futures one's still working at the minute. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm not going to trade. I'm not going to actively trade this afternoon. I'm literally going to let this play out. Hopefully we're going to get a break of this low, which is going to gather me up 3 contracts short. And we're going to get a market dump this afternoon at some point. If we push up and we break the highs, I will be out and flat and take a little loss on that. So that's literally all I'm doing this afternoon. So yeah, just try if you can, and obviously minimize your risk over the weekend. As I say, we've got 2 days of potentially 200, 300% ADR movement that we will not be able to trade in. So, 4 to 6 ADR gaps Monday would not be off the cards if there's any massive movement. So, on the war, if any massive changes in the war. So, just bear that in mind with the positions you've got in. If you're close to margin calls on anything silly like that, you do not want to be opposite side. 17 miles from Faslane. Faslane? What's Faslane? Is that a place? I don't know where Faslane is, David. But yeah, talking about nukes, 50 miles is pretty safe. Anything less than that is pretty not safe, isn't it? But I'm still hoping that Elon Musk has put all those satellites up there, the Starlink, and he said these are all communication satellites. I'm really still hoping they've all got laser beams in them, and he's just going to zap everything out the air that goes up from Russia. It might have happened. You never know. True, we saw something like that. Yeah, so gaps last week. We saw gaps last weekend, didn't we? So on the FX pairs, so we will potentially get some gappy action across the board. So not a lot. I say not a lot. It's not a lot, but the thing you've got to think is each of these days. These massive down days that we've had on the pound CAD, for example, if that sort of movement needs to happen over the weekend when the market is shut, you'll be opening down there. That's all you've got to be aware of. It probably won't happen, but here's a good example of one there. Look. Yeah, closed there. We opened there. That's a small gap. That's probably about a 3/4 of an ADR gap there. We've got one there. Not a biggie, but there was no war going on there. Faslane, nuclear subplate. Oh, is that the nuclear sub base, is it? Right, okay. Yeah, you're 70 miles away. You'll be all right. I lived in Angel, London, for a few months. Loved it. Learned to drink professionally. Oh, yeah, we are professional drinkers in the UK. We know how to do that. Should be part of school. When you leave school, you get a certificate. So you get your GCSEs, and you also get a certificate in how to drink, so that you're prepared to go to college. That's why we have such a high dropout rate in college and university. We seem to spend most of our time getting drunk, which is good. Dimpy, how much accurate this indicator? There is no accuracy on an indicator. It's you. You've asked this question, haven't you? Was it you that asked the question in the Telegram group? Your name rings a bell. I know you asked me actually on MQL5 chat, didn't you? I think. There's no answer to that question. Accuracy of an indicator is dependent on which time frame you're putting it on, what your TP is, what your stop loss is, what instrument you're trading, what time of day it is, whether you take 50% of the trades, 70% of the trades, 100% of the signals. There is no answer. No indicator has an accuracy. You have an accuracy as a trader based on the indicators that you use, or the price action you use if you don't use indicators. So if you want to know the accuracy of it, you can get the EA, download a demo, set it up for the trading conditions that you want, and that will give you the strike rate. So you always do that. If you're talking about the market reverse alert indicator, I assume that's what you're talking about. Engraved shot glasses, yeah. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys, today. So anything you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group. As I say, trade safe this afternoon. Just be aware of obviously potential drops this afternoon in the markets. We don't know what's going to happen. It might do nothing. I've no idea. But I suspect we may see a bit more selling off today. So I'll be back Monday, 7:50, same time. We'll have a look at what's happened over the weekend. And obviously just get prepared really for week ahead. And obviously the week ahead is going to depend on what's happening in the Ukraine. So it's either going to be a case of I should be back to position trading, hoping the markets are going to start to recover, or I should just carry on scalping as we are. So we'll see what happens on Monday. But have a good weekend. Stay safe, and I will be back 7:50 Monday morning, and I will hopefully see you then.